Hey everyone, I'm aLex. We're here to practice together, to practice pausing, calm, confident, joyful, and loving. Cesar Millan, I'll say a little bit about that in a bit. So this time together here is for the big pause, to give ourselves time, attention, potential for growth, to come home. Maybe that's the biggest one, like a coming home with a capital H. We're together in this electronic way on YouTube through Sun and Moon Yoga Studios portal. Our studio offers so many classes, live, hybrid. You can Zoom in or come live. You can join us from far away. Annie and I have these YouTube offerings Wednesday evenings, 7:30, and Sundays at 10. So this half hour is structured approximately 8 minutes or so, a little longer. I'll talk a little bit about my theme. I'm going to try to center us in to sort of be listening from a quasi-meditative space here in just a moment. Then we will do a little tiny, the movement is going to be from wherever you are, sitting, lying down. So have what you need to be comfortable. I have a cushion under my hips. I'm going to put a cushion under my knee that needs support. And of course, if you need to shift partway through, judge that for yourself, and you can watch when you're shifting. Am I shifting because I'm antsy? Am I shifting because I'm bored? Am I shifting because I'm truly needing to support myself in a different way? So a little talk, a little micro movement, and then meditation, silence and stillness. I titled today's talk, Calm, Confident, Joyful, Loving. Maybe not quite that order. And that string of words may be familiar to you from Cesar Millan, the dog whisperer, I think he's subtitled, he's called. I had been offering some parallels to our practices and dog training. And I was really struck by this teaching last night. I've seen a number of his videos, as you may have. And he actually talks about that he's training humans. He's training humans, and he's trying to make a better planet by training humans. And once again, the parallels to this path of practice are astounding. He's having this one in this particular video. The girlfriend has a dog, and the boyfriend is a dog trainer, actually, and it works with quite difficult dogs. But this one dog, her dog, snips at him and bites at his ankles, chases him around, and just is hostile toward him. And what he couldn't see about his own, so Cesar modeled the how to approach the dog, and there's all this. So the dog is in the crate, just to bring the dog out of the crate peacefully. So Cesar just sits next to him and get the slip leash over his head in the crate, sitting next to him, and you can just see the difference in energy. And Cesar is modeling, is being that calm, grounded presence, just right here. He says it several times. You're not in the past or the future. When we come to a situation, perhaps with a dog or any other situation where we have past experiences that have not worked out, we bring those with us a lot of times. And he says it's important to just drop those. The dog doesn't I guess I'm kind of wondering about this, as I often have questions about my own learning. The dog doesn't bring those as well, but maybe they do in some way, but the dog is really responding to the here now and can respond to that. So it's very slow. It's very slow. I was going to name today's time together, wait for it, a phrase I used last week. Wait for it. I think a lot about baseball, which I'm not a huge fan. My husband likes it, and I enjoy sometimes live games with him because he can tell me so much about the players or the game or some details of the strategy and all our personalities of the players. But I do love these instances of just watching, to be there at bat, and to the focus that entails, the focus, and to just be able to let the pitch go by if needed to, if not, not swing at every pitch. And so I won't tell you the rest of the video, but he is successful. I'll tell you another part of it. He is successful in modeling to get the slip leash over the dog, to slowly get the dog to come out. And he just practices going in and out of the crate a few times so that there's this, not just a rushing out, but there's a pattern of slowing down. And then he gets the dog to walk with him. And the walking is another really important part. There's not an elaboration on why, but he says that's like the key part of training with your dog. And I would guess, from a little bit of neuroscience that I know, that bilateral motion, like swimming, walking, crawling, are all so healthy and rejuvenating for our brains, and perhaps bring us into this very moment. And it's right what we do here, where we're pairing that practice of being really still, really present, of meditation, and a practice of movement. In my case here, micromovement. And yoga, it's the the asana, our movements, or our breath, and many other things where we're engaged or we're doing something. And then the sitting is just a pure receptivity with just a touch of doing, because we are doing something. We're sitting. So, and so then he has the fellow try out the closeness with the dog and the walking, eventually petting the dog. And you can see in this guy the body language, he doesn't even realize, Cesar a couple times telling him to lift his head, to be calm, confident. And he's got this pattern that he's looking down by watching what's happening with the dog. And so again, a really interesting part of what we're learning together as we practice is how to be aware of what we're not aware of in ourselves. And it comes with, how do we be aware of what we're not aware of? How can that happen? And it can by time and through the tool of attention. Our powerful tool, maybe our most powerful tool, is attention, and where we put our attention, as many social media sites are finding, or advertisers, where we put our attention. So we can grow that. We can become aware of what we were not aware of through attention. And through that pausing. And additionally, this is another topic, but as we're aware of polarities, as we're aware of places we feel stuck between two different entities, or maybe more, reconciliation, our mind tells us reconciliation is sort of something we figure out analytically or by compare and contrast charts, something like that. But I think it's something bigger. It's something where, like in the yin yang symbol, the black and the white and the dots of the opposite in each, it is the wholeness of it together. So the whole is greater than the sum of the parts. There's something that happens there that's a creative force, just as, and I'm taking this from a podcast I listened to, just as the Big Bang in the beginning, or however we think the universe was formed, there was chaos, there was this polarity. And then maybe there was a bang, maybe there was some sort of fusion. Anyhow, it's a periods we go through, and to have the skill, the desire, the passion to stay with it, to stay calm, confident, joyful, and loving, even in the face of all of difficulty like that, polarities, poles, some level of discomfort with that, sometimes small, sometimes huge. And a likely, going off to other topic, and there's a wisdom. There's a wisdom that eventually we do need to act, we need to speak, we need to express on behalf of what we know. What we know comes to a resonance. All right, so I never got us centered, but maybe with something about my voice, or that I did say that I would take you there, but I didn't. Hopefully you've centered in a way. You've come into your body. You've come into the right here. And perhaps as we move on to this next phase, this movement, micromovement practice, you might shift the position. And honestly, you can do this lying down. You can do it in a box. You can do it with a fox. You can do it standing on your head. And I like to bring us, just in case you need these anchors, you might be just totally right here, home. Or you might need to just shift to feel, to imagine or sense how a leaf might float on gravity. If we were in space, the leaf would never be coming down. It would be just floating around, I guess, or being where it is. Or a rock, or a drop of water. Just, how do you come into your body? There's a vehicle for that. And I love ground. You might do it through sound. It's another way, like the sound. I thought about putting the cancellation on noise cancellation on these headphones, but to block out what chaos might be around me today with the cats and the dog. But it's so valuable to have the sound, the fan, the hum of insects outside, to bring me from there right here. Or breath. A little bit of all of these. Breath. I once heard this phrase that you can't be anxious and aware of your breath at the same time. Is that true? And now we'll be working with the eyes in particular, but allow yourself to keep a sense, maybe even like in the background, keep a sense of the whole of your body, the feel of the body. And notice your eyes. Perhaps when you went to attend, to bring attention to your eyes, you noticed the eyes were tense. You notice they're looking in a certain direction. Could you catch that? Wait for it. And maybe right away, sort of out of, you shifted, you changed it as you saw your own eyes, felt your own eyes. And let the eyes move upward as if toward a 12 on the clock. We've done this before. I'm sure you've done it before, maybe not. And then let your eyes take slow, big circle. Well, any size circles actually, to the right. To your right, let the eyes roll. You're doing this with your eyes closed is my preference. It can be done with the eyes open. Slow, so that we can really sense what's happening here. And if you feel rebellious against slow, go fast. Go fast. You see what you find by in that path, in your pathway. And when you notice that there's jiggliness or some non-smoothness, I suggest go slower and find the smooth, harmonious, the calm, confident, joyful, loving, smooth, harmonious path. It's right here available for us. For you, for me. And you might find that jiggly part, the part that's not so smooth, is just one or two parts on that circle. All right, and pause, coming up to the 12 again and pausing. And just check into the wholeness of you again, the wholeness of the feel of your body, of the ground underneath you, the space around, the breath. There may be other niggling physical, emotional, mental constructs coming in. Don't deny them. See them, but acknowledge, and then, if possible, so say we're in this practice now. I'll come back to tend to you later. And from the top at the 12, eyes at the top, now go the other direction, but you might just wait before you start. Just wait for it. Wait for that moment to start. And it might be just a millisecond, or it might be a few seconds. And you can pause anywhere in the arc of motion. In fact, it's useful to pause. Just see if you can pause with ease, just a ease, not a jumpy or sudden, but just a pause. An easy beginning again, like the best way apparently to drive a hybrid car is just that, without the jarring motion, but real smooth. Best way in terms of energy consumption. Is this direction does it feel very different? And what places along the clock, you might imagine that clock face is useful just for landmarks. What places are sweet and easy, and what places are little road bumps or big road bumps? Anything of curiosity. I hadn't really noticed this before for myself. I'm just going to share, because to one of the gazillions, infinite numbers of things we might feel, I'm going to my left, which will seem like right to you. But when I get to the top, there's like a step down. It goes, the circle starts a little lower and it finishes up a little higher. There's a little gap at the 12 of where the circle. I wonder, maybe I can find a smoother, not that that's not necessarily smooth, but I can find a smoothness. So, in a sense, it's not like there's something wrong with go ahead and stop the next time you come up to the 12. There's nothing wrong with the speed bumps, the jiggly piece of the movement. It can be fun, but it can be that is blocking. It's something that's blocking or holding or keeping us from freedom, from joy, from it can be some way of holding something back. So I'm shifting just a little bit, and you might join me as we now take a sip of my coffee. So maybe you move, or maybe this micro movement set you up perfectly for our meditation now. About 9 minutes, maybe 8. You might be in just the same place you've been the whole time, or you may have moved several times now. We've arrived. And if you haven't, if you find yourself jumped out somewhere, there's really, really no issue with that. It may happen thousands of times within our journey together here today. The coming back, like the prodigal son, is the benefit. And if you are steady and just here, you're good as well. There's no punishment either way. We're just here. Attending. So when you do come up against a discomfort, as I was mentioning earlier, how we meet that. So certainly an action may be required, but before that, in the wait for it part, can we slow that down? So as I try to train my dog not to run toward another dog or human that they don't yet know, he's running toward them partly out of excitement, I think, and partly out of caution, kind of a defensiveness. But to come slowly to something new, to what is, or maybe it's something we think we are know, but can we come, so it grabs our attention, can we approach with the openness, calmly, confidently, grounded, not without our own boundaries. And so I'm using the example of dog, but now with the way my hip feels right now, there's a so I do this momentary engagement, momentary meaning maybe half a minute, maybe at most 2 minutes in a meditation. That's a really long time, but can I hear you. Hello. I hear your nearly tingling feeling. I'm doing this meditation now. Could I come back later and deal with you? Or do you need something right now? In fact, I'm going to just adjust my leg a little bit. And when I come back, I leave that. Come back to just here. Just here. A few more breaths. Thank you. Thank you to myself, to all that supports me, to you practicing with me. So a little homework that's a very familiar homework can be to add that weight for it. Add that weight for it, just like if you were walking your dog, stop at the crossroads, just stop at a street crossing. When you meet anything, if you meet a pain in your hip, when you meet somebody you've been eager to see for a long time, you hadn't seen them. So either practice on easy things, joyful things, as well as difficult things. And how do we meet them? Can we meet them at that calm with ourselves, having that being, that space and place and energy of calm, confident, joyful, and loving? Not without wisdom, not without boundaries, but with that a very, maybe a very big game changer. Thank you. Ciao, ciao.